YouTube. What's up, baby? We back in this thing again for another review. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Episode 5 entitled Home Movies. Alright? Now, if you've been to this channel before, you already know how we do it. We started off with the premise, 3 favorite scenes, the grade, and then we on to the next one, right? So, again, Resident Evil Episode 5 entitled Home Movies. Alright? Now, on this episode, we pick up basically right where we left off with the other episode. We see the helicopter landing. We see that the helicopter was full with Umbrella soldiers, and they're coming to get Jade. And then they're led by a woman soldier, a female soldier, and she ends up taking her helmet off, and Jade's face seems super surprised. But we don't yet get to see who that person is. Not just yet. Alright? Then we go back to the past, and we see Albert is still looking for Jade and Billy. He gets called, well, somebody actually shows up by his car and tells him, hey, you got to go talk to Evelyn. He's like, yo, I'm busy. They're like, nah, you got to go talk to Evelyn. So he goes and he sees Evelyn, and he meets her in the room where they're holding Angel, and he sees that they already done beat Angel, trying to get answers from him to figure out how he knew what he knew so much about Umbrella's past and also about what's going on right now. And what ends up happening is she wants Albert to find out how he knows what he knows, because they weren't able to do it. And Albert's like, yo, I gotta go, and they're not having it. They're like, you're gonna do this. You're not good. You're not going nowhere. You're gonna do this for us. So he has to, so that we can get back home to Billy and Jade. He does look on his phone. He sees in the cameras that Billy and Jade are home, though, now at this point. So that's good news. You know what I'm saying? He could be a little relieved. So ends up happening is he gets to work, and Albert ends up hurting, or no, he ends up hurting Angel, because Angel's like, he whispers to Albert like, hey, I know your daughters. He's like, bro, like, bah, bah, bah. You know what I'm saying? He ain't having it. He gonna protect his daughters, and he gonna protect himself as well, because Umbrella is yet to find out that this situation that happened with Billy and Jade. You know what I'm saying? And even what he did as well. You know what I'm saying? To help them out. So then from there we jump to Billy and Jade, and they talk about, you know, what they learned from Angel, and, you know, is he telling the truth about us? You know, because he told them a lot about Umbrella. He told them a lot about their father and how he's been lying to them, and that, you know, they're special beings, you know what I'm saying? Because they're not just like everybody else per se. And so they're talking about this stuff. And so from there they decide to look for their birth certificates. While they're doing it, they don't necessarily find that, but they end up Jade ends up finding this laptop underneath their father's bed. And so she calls Simon to get help with unlocking it, because it's locked. And he is able to actually help them unlock the laptop. And they find out that he has secretly made some type of, like, it's like some type of email or something, like some type of Dropbox or whatever. And if something was to happen to him, it's like messages to Billy, and they're like clues. And it basically leads them to find out that he has some type of bag, some type of preparation bag for them if something was to happen. So the letter says, all these things, you know, they find it, they find the bag, or they end up now they end up actually going to go look for the bag. So they end up finding it, and it's basically a getaway bag. It's money in there, it's passports in there with different names for them. There's a gun in there, you know what I'm saying, and you know, so it was a getaway bag, just in case he disappears. You know what I'm saying? He wanted them to both leave together and be safe, and they would have been together and safe if something was to happen to them. If they got that bag, they would be straight. And then from there, Billy and Jade have an argument about everything that's going on. You know, Billy's more on the side of her father, like, hey, you know, he loves us, he cares for us, you know, like da 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 da. And Jade is like, you know, seeing it for what it really is. Like, he's been lying. We don't know anything about anything, you know what I'm saying, about us. So it's like, you know, there's no telling like what else he's been lying about. You know, we found out that he's been working, and you know, just all these things, you know what I'm saying. So they get into a big old argument from it. But then eventually they end up making up, and both of them agree to figure out, you know, everything that's going on. Like, they need to find out what's going on. And then Simon ends up telling them, like, hey, you guys know you guys have a basement. They're like, no, we don't. He's like, yeah, every house comes with a basement. So they end up going to go look for the basement, and they find it. And they find the way that they need to get into the basement. So once they're inside, they see a lot of their old stuff, like from when they were growing up. Like it was like some type of musical instrument, like for kids, that Jade was playing with, and then Billy had like this old doll that she used to have. It was like a rabbit or something. So it's all these old things that they grew up with. They find out that there's blood in there, which is their blood, and they find some old like I guess this would be like equivalent to like a DVD, but you know, it's not really a DVD though. But they find that, and it's old videos with Raccoon City from 1998, and we see they end up picking this one CD that says Lisa on it, and they end up playing it, and we see that it's, you know, Lisa is the character from the latest Resident Evil movie that came out. The girl that had like the mask on that had like multiple faces on it or whatever. And we know that, you know, from the game and from the movies, she's one of the first people to have been tested on with the T virus strain. And they get to see a good look of her, and she has like a hunchback, and then on the hunch in her back is an eye on it, bro. Like, it's like they're like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying, they're tripping out, you know what I'm saying, because they're thinking like, hey, you know what I'm saying, that happened to her, what's gonna happen to Billy, you know what I'm saying. So they get freaked out. And so they go to this computer and see that he's been keeping notes on Billy's you know, sickness. Like, he's been taking notes, like, oh, this has happened this day, this happened this day, this happened this day. So he's actually keeping track of what's going on, you know what I'm saying, kind of like she's an experiment almost. And then one of the last things it says is that if she ends up becoming sick, she'll have to be contained. Like, if she ends up becoming like really, really sick, like she becomes a zombie, she'll have to be contained. So they're freaking out, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So anyways, they're Billy's like, let's get out here, let's go, whatever. And Jade's like pretty much agrees with it, but she's like, I'm gonna take some of this stuff for evidence so that we can, you know, have some stuff to put on, you know what I'm saying, umbrella. Because if we just come out saying this stuff happened, they ain't gonna believe us. But if we come out saying this stuff happens with evidence, they're gonna believe us. So anyways, Jade ends up pulling this wire out of the computer, and it basically trips the security, and then everything gets burnt. You know what I'm saying? All the evidence gets burnt from the situation. They get like 30 seconds to, you know what I'm saying, get away from the area. The doors are locked, so they can't completely get out. So they just run to where the door is, and then all this, like the stuff with all their old stuff, the files and stuff like that, with Raccoon City, the stuff that happened in 1998, even some of the stuff that's going on now, all of it gets burnt. So there's no way to have evidence to prove what they found out. As that happens, Albert ends up arriving home, and they get confronted by or they get confronted by him, but then they confront him like, yo, you got this blood work, you got all this stuff with Raccoon City in 1998, even taking notes on Billy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you said that she was gonna have to be locked up. You know what I'm saying? What is this bag situation that you got just in case something happens to you? Like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? And things get a little hostile. And Albert's like, y'all gonna leave this room or whatever because I'm your father. Y'all gonna go upstairs and we gonna, whatever, we gonna chill out. And Billy ends up knocking Albert out with the laptop. And then when he comes to, he's locked up in this chair, and he's chained up in his chair so that he can't go nowhere. He can't do nothing to them either. But anyways, he ends up explaining that he created them and that they are strong and different than other people, than regular people. And he says that's probably the reason why Billy's able to fight against the virus so well, because she's different than other people. Other people would have already turned, but she's not. So we don't know exactly what's going to go on with her. We don't know. But we do understand that Jade and Billy are both different. So Albert brings up the situation that's going on with Angel at the Umbrella Factory, and he tells them like, yo, did you talk to Angel? And then Jade is kind of quiet, but then Billy's like, yeah, we did, and we didn't tell him much, but he does know that I'm sick, I'm infected. And so he's like, bro, like, you guys gotta let me out of this chair so that I can go cover our tracks, so I can save you, because if Umbrella finds out that you've had something to do with this situation and they feel like you're gonna squill, then they're gonna come after you. They're gonna kill you. They're gonna kill both of you, and they're probably gonna try to kill me. So let me out. Let me go handle this Angel situation. Y'all two go to school, be safe, you know what I'm saying? And we'll go like that. We'll go from there. So they do release him, and then they end up going to school, and then he ends up going to go handle the situation with Angel. Now, we don't know if he's going to just tell him, like, yo, keep your mouth shut, or if he's going to tell him, like, you're dead because you know too much. And I ain't going to take no chances of you squilling and then getting my daughters killed and myself killed as well. So we don't know what's going to happen just yet. So then from the past, we go back to the future, and then we go back to the scene where the female soldier is revealing, like, her identity, taking off her helmet, and underneath the helmet is Billy. So she's still alive, you know what I'm saying? We don't know where things are gonna go next, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's looking crazy, looking real crazy over here. But anyways, that's the premise of this episode. 3 of my favorite scenes will be Albert and Angel. Like, when Albert, you know what I'm saying, he looked like he didn't even want to, like, interrogate Angel, but as soon as he, like, knew that he had to do it, and then even more so when Angel was like, I know your daughters, and I talked to him, I was like, bro, he just went crazy. He's like, bah, bah, you know what I'm saying? That's a father, you know what I'm saying? He gonna do whatever he got to cover his daughter's trails, to make sure they're okay, you know what I'm saying? So that was cool. It was pretty crazy to see. My second favorite scene would be Lisa, seeing Lisa, seeing that situation, and this show actually, tying in with, per se, the movie and the games, because they have the Lisa character on here. That was dope. And seeing the eye on her back, bro, that looked crazy, man. So that would be my second favorite scene. My third favorite scene would be just Albert, Billy, and Jade, like, when they all, had that confrontation, you know what I'm saying, after they found out what was going on, what he was doing behind their back, and then, them standing up, and then, you know what I'm saying, just everybody getting on the same page as far as, like, what's going on now. Everybody knows, you know what I'm saying, and now we got to cover our trails. We got to do our thing. It was cool to see all of that, man. So that would be 3 of my favorite scenes. The grade for this, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I really did enjoy this episode, just as I enjoyed the last episode. I feel like things are getting better within this season. You know what I'm saying? I did have a good time with this episode, and it didn't even have no action. It just was more like, revealing things to Jade and Billy, and what I'm saying, finding things out for ourselves. Like that was really cool to experience, man. So a 9 out of 10 for me. If you guys saw this episode, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below. What has been your favorite episode thus far from episode 1 to 5? Do you feel like this is heating up, or do you still feel like this is trash? Because a lot of people don't like this series at all. Me, I don't mind it. It's pretty good. I like it. But yeah, let me know about that in the comments down below, alright? Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. As always, this is Q's Insight. I am Callie. Until next time.